This seems to be an era of layoffs. Every newspaper, every magazine, every article on the social media platform, everyone's talking about major layoffs happening all across the world. Surprisingly, even in top brass, large organizations. Do you know anybody who's been laid off? Or worse still, are you laid off? Let me tell you, you're not alone. Years back, end 1980s, I think, I was also once laid off. And let me share with you what I did. Continue my journey all the way up to the chief executive of a large multi-crore organization based in India. This happened way back in the late 80s, one Monday evening. I was in business development, sales actually more specifically, and I had had a wonderful day actually. I'd met quite a few clients. In fact, the last one was very, very productive, the meeting. It was such a progressive meeting that I felt that probably in the next meeting he'd sign up the dotted line. So I got back after a day's work to my office, walked into my small little cabin, and started writing out my DSR, which is a daily sales report, and that's what we used to write those days when there were no internets, no emails. Everything really was pen and paper. And I got a call from my boss saying that he wanted to meet me. So I walked into his cabin, quite about to tell him all the wonderful things that happened that day. And he just looked at me and very straight said, "Anand, I am afraid, but we have to let you go. You're fired." I have no idea what he mumbled in justification after that, because at that point in time I felt like a stiletto had just gone right through me as smoothly and as easily as it would go through butter. I have no idea how I got back to my small little cabin. Everything around me seemed to be exploding. A whirlpool. I just couldn't make out where I was going and what I was doing. It was just sheer instinct. I went and sat on my chair. The first thing that I saw was a little family picture of mine on my tabletop, wife and children smiling up at me, and I said, "Oh my God, roof above our heads, food on the table, clothes in the closet, school, fees, education. Where the hell is all this going to come from now?" And I started sinking into a deep, deep pit of fear. Very, very intense. Everything around me just became one huge pit of imaginations. What is going to happen now? What am I going to do what am I going to do in the future? Where am I going to go from here? Questions kept flooding my mind without a single answer. I have no idea how long I sat in that deep knot of fear. Must have been a couple of hours at least. And then reality started dawning on me. I had to face reality now, face up. So I looked at it all and I said, what is the real situation? Number one, I'd lost my job. Number two, I'd lost my earnings. Number three, I'd come to a standstill in my career path. Number 4, I was fired. Period. Once I accepted that, in true honesty and very earnestly, I could now be able to at least breathe. But that was the fact. Then I stood up and I happened to look at my reflection in the closed window at the saddleboy. And I saw myself and I said, one sec, I'm honest. I'm hardworking. I've got 10 years experience behind me. And I have always been a sledgehammer. So what could have possibly gone wrong? Was I a failure? I don't think so. Did the company require somebody in my place? Maybe. Is this end a beginning for new things, bigger things? Yes, just maybe. And then I felt an enormous amount of strength stemming up from within me. And I said, I need to get back. I need to get back into life again. The first thing that I did was I opened my drawer, took out my diary of contacts, and I started calling up all my contacts, at least as many as I could that evening, all alone in the office, telling them what had happened to me, telling them I needed help, telling them I needed another job, telling them I wanted to get back into the industry I was just wrenched out of. I never spoke against the organization. I never spoke against my leadership. I never spoke against the kind of atmosphere that existed or I had existed in. I spoke against nobody. I just told everyone the facts. That is how I always was. I never ever deviated from the facts anytime, whenever I spoke. I then got back home, sat my wife down, and I told her, I just lost my job. And she said, that's okay. And the kind of confidence that she showed, it told me that she has had more confidence in me than I had myself. She was absolutely calm and cool, and she says, let's do one thing first straight away. And I said, what? She says, let's sit down and look at our expenses and see how and where we can cut things down. In an hour's time, we had brought our expenses down by 50%. And that felt good, which meant that I had a good couple of months to survive a little comfortably before I could actually get myself relocated. That was a great feeling. The next morning, I got up and created an amazing, rocking biodata or resume. I took out a whole lot of copies, put it in my briefcase, and I started walking the streets every day, meeting up with placement agencies, reaching out to friends, handing out my resumes. Whatever I could do, I did. I was a lion unleashed. I was all out there to get back into the form I had spent so amazingly, that's what I felt, amazingly, last 10 years. And guess what? In 6 weeks' time, I got a call from an organization who wanted to take an interview to be in it. I was elated. I knew no matter what, I just had to ace it. I rushed back home, told my wife about it. I couldn't sleep that night. I mean, I was like a killer on the loose, planning everything. What sort of answer what sort of question will I be asked? What sort of answer should I give? What should I look like? How should I project myself? Almost every detail of what the interview could possibly be, I imagined it. And I imagined actually signing up for the job. The next day, I woke up absolutely fresh, did my regular workouts, put on my best suit, and walked right into this organization. Now, here's the fun part. My interview started, and the interviewer didn't realize that here was a hungry, impatient man who would do anything to get them to employ me. So this guy, in his regular, those days interviews were all cat and mouse games. I don't know whether they're still the same. I hope not. But the first question he asked me was, who was the fourth president of the United States of America? I didn't know that. Then he asked me, what do you feel about this particular cricketer, the way he bats? Do you think you could possibly look at an improvement on it? And I was wondering, cricketing? Batting? And then he asked me, what do you think about the present economic state of the country? And I said, duh. What are these three things got to do with my work? So I came right out on him and I said, sir, if you tell me what is your product, what are the challenges that you're facing, because there has to be a challenge, otherwise you would be calling me in for an interview, then I can tell you how I can plug the gaps. I think that's far more important, don't you think, than the fourth president of the United States or cricketer's batting stance or batting style or the economy of the country. He actually quite liked that. And he then told me all about the vision of the organization, the products it had, and what he wanted to see in the next couple of years. And I laid it out on him straight away. I said, this is what you can do with it. Because my 10 years of experience can do it. And then I asked him at the end of my entire explanation, I challenge you to take me on. And I will ensure that whatever targets you've set just now, I'll deliver. And guess what? He signed me up. And I came back home absolutely elated. I went to the turntable, put on record, and danced to my favorite ABBA number, The Winner Takes It All. This wasn't a miracle. I'll tell you what, how did all this happen? What made me move from a point of lowest in the pit, stiletto, butter, through me, to actually coming back after, approximately 2 months, back home, ABBA, The Winner Takes It All. There are three things that I learned from this entire incident. And I want to share this with you. Because if you're going through the kind of hell I went through, or any of your friends are going through that same kind of hell I went through, then please share this vlog with them and share these 3 tips with them. Tip number 1. When we face a challenge, you know what we actually do with that? We start coating it with a lot of imagination. What if now? What if this has to happen? What if that has to happen? God, what's going to happen if this doesn't happen? Or if that doesn't happen? You know what we do? We coat so much of imagination around that one single, simple challenge that we actually kill ourselves. We take away that amazing greatness that we have inside, that greatness that can handle any kind of challenge. Because that's what life is all about, just one journey. Just one journey called life, and they're going to have millions of challenges in it. And you know what? The universe, God, they've actually put so much of greatness inside us so that we can handle those challenges. But what do? We add so much of imagination to the challenge that we actually lose out on it. Quite frankly, I learned that any challenge is actually 5% reality and 95% imagination. Believe me, it is 5% reality and 95% imagination. And that's what kills it. Remove that 95%, like I did, and you can hit the truth and find solutions like that. What's my second learning? This is very interesting. When you actually sink into the bottom of the pit, the lowest, that pit where you cannot go down any further, you will discover an amazing strength inside you. Whoa, you have no idea how really, really powerful you are inside. Because that is what happened with me. When I reached the bottom of the pit, realizing that this is it, nothing can get better if I don't work on every possible modus operandi to surface out again, that's when I became a lion unleashed. An impatient, hungry man, because that strength that was so deep within me started showing up, and I hung on to it all the while till the winner took it all. And the third most important learning from this entire episode I learned was that never underestimate yourself. I could have actually, sat back and thought, okay, my boss has asked me to leave because maybe I'm just a failure. Maybe I couldn't get the bottom line place. Maybe I'm useless. Maybe this industry is not for me. Maybe this is the wrong career I've chosen. I go to something different. I could have justified so many things if I had not stood up, looked at my reflection, and summed myself up. Honesty, hard work, 10 years in this industry, and still ready to kill it. If I had not taken myself into confidence, you got to do that, I would have not been able to ace that interview by actually giving him a solution and then challenging the entire deal myself. That's because I never for a minute underestimated myself. These are three most important things that I learned. And for every one of you out there who's been handed a pink slip, go through this vlog not once, not twice, not thrice, but as much as you can so that you can literally rise out of wherever you're stuck with absolute self-confidence and, like I said, an unleashed lion. This is Anand signing off for now. I hope this vlog really works for you. Till we meet again, take care of yourself, because I'm going to be back with another vlog from the archives of my life, just for you.